Welcome back, guys. We got some stuff to talk about here today on the channel, so I made a couple of bullet points here, and we will discuss them. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Roth Motorsports. Earlier on, or was it yesterday or the day before, High Limit Racing put out the graphic of the full points rundown right now for High Limit Racing. So I was looking at it, okay, whatever. I know where all these guys are at in points, right? And I'm going through, and I get to about the 6th or 7th guy, and it's James McFadden. And I was like, what is going on here? McFadden's like 15th in points. He missed the first 4 races. But then I realized what they had done was they were using actually the team points. And so Roth Motorsports is actually 7th in points right now, only 40 points behind Rico Abreu for that 5th and final charter spot. You know, at the beginning of the year, everybody's like, well, you know, James McFadden, he's missing the first 4 races. His run in a championship is all but over, right? I mean, he's 211 points behind Brad Sweet right now, but only 40 behind Rico for that 5th and final charter spot. And in my opinion, the last couple of races, James McFadden has been much better than the 24 car. And if he can keep up what he's got going on right now, he is definitely good enough to make up that 40-point difference. And so with that in mind, you know, McFadden might be disappointed he doesn't get to race for a championship. But I think that, you know, Dennis and Teresa Roth are probably, you know, Brent Ventura, everybody else as well, are probably thinking, you know, hey, let's try and keep this thing consistent, try and keep this thing all 4 wheels on the ground, have some good finishes, and we can knock this charter out in year 1, and then next year really go for a championship when, you know, he doesn't have any issues with visas and things like that, right? So I thought it was very interesting to see that even with Dominic Scelzi's finishes of 12th, 13th, 13th, and 14th to start the year, McFadden is still that close to a charter spot. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that throughout the rest of the year, but I found that quite interesting, and maybe nobody else really noticed it and thought of it like this, right? So the second thing I want to talk about is the Outlaws tonight at Lincoln Speedway. Going to be a pretty large car count. I would expect to see maybe mid-40s, maybe close to 50 cars showing up there as per usual. And it's the much-anticipated debut of Callum Williamson. What it sounds like he is going to be maybe the next big thing coming out of Australia. You remember back a couple of weeks, you know, during the wintertime, him and Brad Sweet and Rico Abreu had a really, really good battle, and he was right in the mix there, sliding them back and forth. I want to say that was at Premier Speedway. And Callum Williamson got this big opportunity here with John Trone and that 39 car out there in central Pennsylvania. A lot of people were very, very excited to see how he would do. And so far, the results have been mixed. He had his best finish so far in about 5 or 6 races was a 6th place run at Sealands Grove Speedway. He's ran at Lincoln, he's ran at the Grove, he's ran at Port Royal, but no other top 10 finishes. Results have been all over the map, really. So we'll see what he can do tonight against the Outlaws. You know, I don't think the expectations are too high. You know, it's still a brand new pairing, brand new car. He's really only ran Lincoln one other time. So we'll see what he can do. I think if he makes the show, that's going to be a really, really big accomplishment for him. I know a lot of people in Australia are very excited to see how he does here against the Outlaws for the very first time. So we're going to get to see him quite a bit with Highland. We're going to get to see him quite a bit as well with the Outlaws. He'll run with them as well on, Friday and Saturday at Williams Grove. So good luck to Callum Williamson here tonight. We'll see how he does in his Outlaw debut. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the KCP Racing fan experience. So basically a few months ago, KCP put up a deal. This is the team that Gio Scelzi drives for, the 18 car on the Outlaw Tour, that they were going to do a raffle of some sorts. And once they got to a certain amount of entries, once they got to a certain date, they were going to draw a random name, and that person would actually get to drive the KCP Racing 410 sprint car at Knoxville Raceway. I know what you're thinking, like, that sounds absolutely insane. A guy like me or a guy like Tony Laporta or a guy like whatever could literally sign up for this deal, pay $15, $20 for the raffle ticket, and have an opportunity to drive a 410 sprint car at the sprint car capital of the world. Which sounds, from the team side of things, which sounds a little bit dangerous, right? You never know who you could get out of this deal, right? You could get, you know, Jerry Maguire from, you know, Motown, New Jersey or something, right? Who has no clue what he is doing, has no idea what it takes to start a 410 sprint car. All he's done is drove his, you know, his Cadillac around for the last 30 years, and that's the only thing he's ever driven before. And so this could have been a really dangerous situation for KCP, maybe some liability issues there. But they drew it yesterday, and the person they drew was actually named Jordan Paulson. I never heard of him before, but I went and looked on social media, looked on the racing websites. This guy actually has an Outlaw start at Wilmot Raceway back in 2019. He finished 23rd in the feature. He also has 33 career top 10 finishes with the Wisconsin wingless sprint cars. So this guy has experience in a sprint car, And I would be willing to bet that the guys at KCP Racing breathing a sigh of relief that this was the outcome, that they actually have a guy that has driven race cars getting behind the wheel of their car instead of just some random Joe Blow that doesn't know what's going on and could probably put an offense at Knoxville. So I thought that was kind of an interesting story that I'd throw on the board as well. And the final thing I want to talk about, I believe it is doubtful we see any high-limit racing drivers showing up tonight at Lincoln Speedway for the Outlaw race. Just kind of doing some math and doing some research. We just ran a Lakeside. Kansas City to where Lincoln's at in Pennsylvania is a 15-hour drive. And then from Pennsylvania and Lincoln back to West Burlington, Iowa for 34 Raceway on Friday, it's another 13 hours. So I really don't think we're going to see anybody. I haven't seen any tweets so far today of people that are going to be going from High Limit Racing. The only two I could really think of that might go, Jacob Allen. He's done a lot of traveling so far this year. He's ran the most races in sprint car racing so far. And then maybe a Justin Peck. I mean, his team is based in Pennsylvania. The CJB is based in Pennsylvania. Those are like the only three teams that I could see going. But I think it's doubtful we see anybody showing up. So it'll be the Outlaws versus PA Posse, or really the Outlaws versus Macri and Troy Wagaman Jr. I'm not really sure, but should be fun to watch. We'll be tuning in. So hopefully you guys enjoy this news and things video. We'll see you in the next one, which will be a race preview for 34 Raceway in West Burlington, Iowa on Friday night. We'll have that out later on tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.